Hello, this is Dr. Mario Sambartolome, your family physician and addiction medicine specialist. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about methamphetamine. Common chemical out there, and you might have heard it. Sometimes it's called meth, sometimes it's called crystal, sometimes it's called ice. It has a lot of different names. But it's actually a drug that's been increasing in prevalence, so it's kind of showing its face a little bit more, and also in consequences. There's more and more overdose deaths that we're seeing related to methamphetamine. And one of the primary groups that get exposed to methamphetamine are really people under 18. It's in the youth. Although if we were to compare to all the drugs, it only occupies about under 1% really of kids that are actually claim to have taken it by the time they finish high school. But the consequences to this chemical class are quite high. If we think about what methamphetamine specifically is, it's in a class we call a stimulant. Other drugs that are in the same class that you might have heard of are like cocaine. Now, there's actually some medications that you could buy from the store that are in the same class that you may not have thought of, and those can be things like medicines used as decongestants, like pseudoephedrine, for example, that are related. They're first cousins. In fact, you could take some of those medicines and stockpile them and make methamphetamine out of it. That's why when you go to the pharmacy now, you have to sign a paper even to buy Sudafed, okay? Because we know that people were doing that for a while. But this stimulant class, it has some kind of classic effects. It increases your heart rate, it increases your blood pressure, it makes you focus some more. You might want to clean the house, if you're taking it. There's all these types of things that it can cause that make people more alert, and that has a lot to do with where you'll find it. Also, sometimes in colleges, when people are in finals, sometimes they'll use classes that are similar to it, an amphetamine, for example. It's also related to a chemical that is used when we treat ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder or attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. But in the case of methamphetamine, it's in this class we call a Schedule II, a drug, and as far as the government's concerned. And the way we see it in the community is actually not something that's prescribed. The way we see it in the community is that it's an illicit drug, and people use it in all sorts of different forms. They can snort it through the nose, they can smoke it through a pipe, usually like a glass pipe. It can also be injected, diluted and injected. So there's actually a lot of ways that methamphetamine can be in your community. But when that happens, you get the classic stimulant effects. And some of the most negative parts to it, though, can include things like overheating, and that can lead to death. We used to see that in raves, which are types of parties that used to happen. We also see it in settings where people maybe have some sort of a risk factor for heart attacks or strokes. So being on methamphetamine or any of the stimulants actually increases the risk of passing away from a heart attack or a stroke. In fact, when I hear somebody in their 20s had a heart attack, the first thing that comes to my mind is a stimulant, like a cocaine or methamphetamine or amphetamine, as an overdose. And so these drugs can actually lead to death. And of course, in between that, lots of other problems. And in methamphetamine, other things that kind of go along with it are the loss of your teeth. You lose weight because it decreases your appetite. It can cause you to have psychotic episodes where you see things that aren't there or hear things that aren't there, almost like the thing that somebody might experience when they have schizophrenia. So it's a very powerful chemical, and it can cause some very dramatic things and can lead to death. So methamphetamine is a very important thing for us to be monitoring. What we're seeing is an increase in death rates from both cocaine and methamphetamine across the country in different places, and so it's definitely on our list of chemical classes to be very, very concerned with, and as soon as we feel that somebody might have been exposed to it or there's an issue around it, that we immediately seek help. So if you have a kid that's still in the age of school time, you need to be engaging the school counselors, their primary care, or the pediatrician, immediately engaging for help, because it's a very quick trajectory to run into trouble on that medication.